All right, we're back for video number 2. We're picking up on question number 11 of your practice exam. In the figure below, Q lies on between P and R. Find the location so that the ratio of P to Q to R is 5:3. Key word in this problem is ratio. We know this is our section formula. So here we got to go ahead and identify x1 and x2. And we need to identify the m and the n. Remember, this ratio is m to n. So we have x1 is -16, x2 is 8, m is 5, n is 3. Now we're going to plug this into our section formula, which is P of x equals n times x1 plus m times x2 divided by m plus n. N is 3, x1 is -16, m is 5, x2 is 8, divided by 5 plus 3. -16 times 3 is -48. 5 times 8 is 40, divided by 8. -48 and a +40 is a -8/8, which equals -1 as my answer. Question number 12. Again, as you read this question, look for the key words. Point N lies on the segment MP. Find the coordinates of N so that the ratio, as soon as we hear that section formula, is 1:4. So with this problem, remember, M to N, x1, y1 is on the left, x2, y2 is on the right. So that's our initial setup. When we solve this, we're solving the point of x and y. We have n x1 plus m x2 divided by m plus n. Over here, n y1 plus m y2 divided by m plus n. And now we start filling in those values. N is 4, x1, -1, plus m is 1, x2 is 9, over m plus n, 1 plus 4. N is 4, y1 is -3, m is 1, y2 is 22, divided by 1 plus 4. And now we just multiply, add, divide, simplify. Point xy, 4 times a -1 is -4, 1 times 9 is 9, divided by 5. 4 times a -3 is -12, plus 22 over 5. -4, +9, 5 over 5. -12, +22, 10 over 5. And that simplifies as 1, 2. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So my answer is 1. Question number 13. Find the location of point B at the midpoint of AC. Keyword here, midpoint. x1 plus x2 divided by 2. Just finding the average of those 2 points. x1 is right here, -12. x2 is right here, -4. -12 plus -4 over 2. -12 and a -4 is a negative 16 over 2, which is negative 8. So at the point of negative 8, that is the midpoint. Question number 14. In the figure below, E and H and F. In the figure below, G is between E and H, and F is the midpoint of EG. They give us some numbers. We need to plug them in and find out what we're missing. FH is 6. FG is 2. E to H is the entire distance. That's what we're looking for. But it gives me this piece of information that F is the midpoint of EG. So if EG is right here, F is the midpoint. If that is 2, this is also 2. And if I need to find that total distance, well, the distance from H to F is 6. If I add 2 more, 6 plus 2 equals 8. Question number 15. Calculate the distance between 2 points. N is at 1, -3, and E is at 9, -7 in the coordinate plane. Give an exact answer, not a decimal approximation. In this particular problem, we are calculating a diagonal distance. Therefore, we cannot simply just count these spaces. We have to do one of two things: Pythagorean theorem or that distance formula. I'm going to go ahead and use the Pythagorean theorem to go ahead and solve this. I'm going to draw myself an imaginary right triangle, and I'm simply going to go ahead and calculate the spaces for those values of A and B. To go ahead and get the vertical distance between those 2 points, that's the distance between the x values. N is at -3, E is at -7. So the distance between these two numbers, -3 to -7, is 4 spaces. So that's going to go ahead and be my A value. Now, the distance between this point and this point horizontally is the distance between those x values. So from point N here is at a +1, point E is at a +9. That's a total of 8 spaces in between those two values. So my B value is going to be 8. Using the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, I'm just plugging in these numbers. 4 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. 4 times 4 is 16, 8 times 8 is 64, and that equals c squared. When I combine these two values, 16 and 64 gives me 80, which is the value of c squared. I'm solving for c, so I need to take the square root of both sides. Therefore, c is the square root of 80. This specific problem does tell us to do not use a decimal approximation. I need an exact number, so this is my answer. The square root of 81 is not a perfect square, so because it's not a perfect square, you're just going to leave that as your answer. So I'm going to use this square root icon. I'm going to click that. I'm going to plug in the value of 80, and then I'm going to go ahead and check my answer. That is questions 11 through 15 on the practice exam. Be sure to check out the final video for questions 16 through 20.